Good morning from the Phoenix International Raceway in the Valley of the Sun. It is time to qualify for this afternoon's NASCAR Nationwide Series race. 47 teams here for 43 positions. Beautiful weather here. Temperatures expected to be around 70 degrees. And 19-year-old Trevor Bayne is the first driver out in his Aaron's Dream Machine Toyota for Michael Waltrip Racing. Steve Burns, Larry McReynolds, Jeff Hammond, Wendy Venturini, and Bob Dillon are glad to be with you here on this Saturday morning Phoenix time.
Steve, we're watching Trevor right here make that first lap, and I am sure glad I'm not driving that race car, being the first cat out on the racetrack. Remember, they ran the Camping World Truck Series race here last night, and congratulations to Kevin Harvick Incorporated, and Ron Hornaday.
Won the battle and the war.
Got it all taken care of last night. That big race here under the lights. But Larry, we've talked about it. Sometimes the luck of the draw works in your favor. This racetrack should have a lot of grip now, but I still wouldn't want to be the first guy on the racetrack.
I would say somewhere between maybe car number 5 to go out and maybe car number 15. If you can get in that window right there as far as your draw, you're probably going to be in pretty good shape. His first lap, 28.013. Let's see what he runs on his second lap, 27.97. This is pretty much what we saw in practice yesterday. And with the exception of Martin Truex Jr., who sat on the pole for the Cup race, this is pretty much what we saw with the Cup cars. They run the same tire. Second lap was quicker.
Tell you what, Jeff, what impresses me the most about Trevor Bayne early in his career, top 12 starts in 13 of his 14 Nationwide Series races this year, including a pole.
You know, the one thing, you mentioned that, but what I like about this young kid, he's smooth. I mean, he never looks like he's out of control. Even when the car's a little bit twitchy or whatever, he does a really good job of not putting that car in harm's way and making a lot of mistakes. I think they've really got a diamond in the rough here. He's going to turn out to be one of the best ones, I think, coming up in the near future. One other thing right quick, guys, look at the clouds. They're kind of lifted. We got a lot of sun on the racetrack, and Larry, we talked about that desired draw. Track's going to heat up pretty quick, so the later you go, the slower you're going to go.
Yeah, Chad Canals told me when you're standing down on pit road, when the clouds move in, you can just feel everything cool down almost immediately, and vice versa. When the sun pops out, it just heats up, and that takes grip away from the racetrack.
Brad Keselowski finished third here back in the spring, April 17th. He's got a good run going. Top 10 finishes in 27 of his last 29 races.
Pretty impressive first lap. In fact, he beats Trevor Bayne on his first lap at a 27.84. They never got real happy in neither one of the practices yesterday. This is the same car that he won Memphis with, though, about 3 weeks ago.
We saw a lot of ill-handling race cars yesterday in practice.
Yes, we did.
This is going to be really good second lap. Yes, sir, a big pickup. Picks up almost a half a second right there, and should put him in pretty good position, I think, for the pole maybe the rest of the day. I think he's going to start up on the front row with that kind of time.
Well, let's say good morning to Wendy Venturini.
Good Saturday morning to you gentlemen up there and everyone at home. James Busher is getting ready to make a qualifying run out there in this Nationwide car. James, how was your car in yesterday's practice? What are you expecting to get out of it?
Our car, Mikasuki Chevrolet, was really good off the truck. We kind of dialed it the wrong way and slowed it down with about every change we made. So we're going back to about where we unloaded with a couple minor changes, and I think we should be pretty good. I think we'll be faster qualifying than we were yesterday in our mock runs, but I'm just thankful for the opportunity with Mikasuki and James Finch, and looking forward to take advantage of it.
All right, good luck to James Busher. I've talked to him a lot in the ARCA Remax series. Now we'll be covering quite a bit come next year.
He's full-time in that car in 2010.
Well, guys, Steve Wallace has 6 Phoenix starts, still looking for his first top 10 start or finish for that matter.
Tell you what, that is quite a first lap, 27.498. So if he picks up anything like Brad Keselowski picked up, this is going to be a well of a lap. I don't think he'll pick up that half a second that Brad picked up, but it's going to be a pretty good lap he's looking at here.
No, but he's definitely working on picking up another 10th right there. He loses a little bit right there off that corner, but he's going to beat him for the pole, looks like, and he does.
Just barely, but it's enough. 27.418. He picked up just under a 10th, and this is a car and a team and a driver that had a lot going on yesterday. They had ignition issues, they had handling issues. He got together with a car getting down into turn 1, so there was a lot happening with his 66 car yesterday.
Steve Wallace will be followed by Mike Bliss, Kevin Conway, and Kyle Busch.
Trip Bruce and his guys did a really outstanding job on that 66 car, getting it all dialed in for this morning's run. I knew Steve was going to be pretty good, but I didn't think he was going to be quite that fast. Here's one of the guys that I'm really looking to be fast here during this qualifying session. Mike Bliss in the number 11. I think he finished, what, 8th last night or 9th last night in the Camping World Truck Series race. And talked to him this morning, and he is about as determined a driver as I have talked to in recent weeks. I mean, he really believes in his team. He feels like if they could come out of here and pull a top 5, and in particular if they could pull a win off, Steve, that it might be able to have some impact as far as getting this team some sponsorship. Because again, we talk about it, this 11 bunch, if they can't find some money, got to close the doors after, when they get back to Homestead. And I found out he did finish 7th in the truck race last night.
And the other thing, Jeff, is that Mike Bliss is 6th in points, and he's only 13 behind Justin Allgaier for 5th.
And he's driving this car this week, as he's done a lot here in the past few weeks, and he'll be back in the 1 car for James Finch, the one that James Buscher's driving here in Homestead. Denny Hamlin will be in this 11 car next week, and this is going to be a pretty good lap from a 27.68 to a 27.25. He sits on the pole by a 1/10 of a half. It's almost like the track is starting to get right now as we get a few cars that's laying some rubber back down. Good lap.
Yeah, so Mike Bliss bumps Stephen Wallace. Let's go down to Bob Dillner.
Well, we all thought that Brad Keselowski had a really good lap, but man, they're already knocking you out of the top spots here. I thought you had a real good one.
Yeah, it's a good lap for a draw. You know, Phoenix is a terrible track to have to qualify in the morning, especially having an early draw. So Trevor had the worst draw, and I had the second worst draw. But I really wish that we could have like cup practice before qualifying here, because you can just see the dirt and sand that kicks up. So you know, the first few cars got a little disadvantage, and I really expect everybody to keep going faster here until we get about to the 10th or 15th place car where the track starts to clean up. So you know, not much we can do about it. We'll just have to take it and move on. You can see how much dust is on the back of the car. Wow, I didn't even notice that. But we'll take it, move on, be ready for the race with the GoDaddy.com Chevrolet.
Still, Brad Keselowski nearly a second quicker than final practice yesterday.
Thanks, Bob. I'm with Justin Allgaier, who finished 8th here 1 year ago at Phoenix, but the qualifying effort was quite scary 1 year ago. I'm sure you want to put that out of your mind.
I really do. You know, we got a really good run to the green, and I was just trying to get everything I could get, and unfortunately on cold tires, there's not a whole lot of grip in this racetrack, and I spun out coming out of 4 and hit about everything you could hit and destroyed the car, but these guys unloaded a backup car, and Verizon Morales Dodge was good all the way up through the field. So I don't want to start the same way we did last time, but maybe we can race just as well and hopefully get even farther up in 8th.
All right, good luck to Justin Allgaier, this qualifying effort this morning. He was 20th 1 year ago. I'm sure he's going to do better than that, and hopefully no incidents.
Well, Wendy, Kevin Conway picks up a bunch on his second lap, picks up more than a second. He is 4th overall of 5 drivers. But
Steve, did you see him on his first lap? I know Larry and I were sitting there watching the monitor, and he absolutely had his hands full.
He did everything but spin out through turn 1 and 2, and that's one reason he was able to pick up almost a second. But, you know, looking back at Mike Bliss's lap of a 27.25, not a big surprise because Mike was second quickest in final practice. The track record here is a 26.90. Kyle Busch set it back in November of 2004. I think I said this yesterday in practice. If we keep some clouds, we may have some cars that can get mighty close to that track record.
As Kyle Busch comes around to take his green flag, I want to mention, too, Kevin Conway finished 19th in the Camping World Truck Series race that Kevin Harvick won.
And he was also attempting to qualify for the Sprint Cup Series race, but he did not make the field.
The magic number for Kyle Busch, 7th or better, regardless of what any other driver does here later today, and he will be the 2009 NASCAR Nationwide Series champion.
But I don't think that's even on his radar.
No,
We know Kyle Busch, He finished second last night. It's all about winning.
Said yesterday he's here to win the race.
It's going to be a pretty good first lap, 27.313. We've seen cars pick up 2, 3, and 4 tenths. So
a wiggle there.
Big wiggle. Big wiggle right there.
Yeah, that's relative. Little to me, big to him.
Yeah, but at the same time, what's amazing is even though that car jumped out like it did, he didn't lose any speed, Larry.
Because evidently he stayed in the throttle. Let's see he can get off turn 4. If he gets off turn 4 good, I don't think it's going to break his old track record, but I think he will go to the top of the charts, and he will at a 27.13. He beats Mike Bliss by over a tenth.
Just to give you an idea of the speed on this 1 mile racetrack, 132.690 miles per hour. 6 drivers have qualified here at Phoenix. Next up, David Rudiman, Brendan Gaughan, and Scott Wimmer. Speed's presentation of NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying for Phoenix is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance, the official auto insurance provider of NASCAR. While we were away, David Rudiman in that 10 car picked up considerably on his second lap, almost half a second. He is 4th overall. Let's go down to Bob Dillner.
Well, Steve, a bunch of guys here watching the times as the guys cross the charts here. And a lot of them pretty surprised at what Kyle Busch turned here in the impound area. One of them, Stephen Wallace. You looked like you had a pretty darn good time, but Kyle went out there and he waxed you.
I think we're all confused on what Kyle runs all the time, but our U.S. Fidelis Chevrolet was pretty good there in the last practice yesterday. We ran some good lap times, and I kind of surprised myself on what I ran there in qualifying. So I usually don't qualify good at all. So I think we'll have a good run today. Feel real good about my car. So hopefully, hopefully we get that monkey off our back. We've had 4 really bad weeks in a row. We've been getting caught up in a lot of accidents. So hopefully this week we can turn the table there and coming out here with a good run.
And Stephen announced this week that he will be running the 42nd annual Snowball Derby in Pensacola, Florida on December 6th. Now, a guy that he's battling for 5th in points is this guy, just on the outside looking in. I know this week very big for you, and then you go back to the 1 car next week, Mike.
Steven's running the Snowball?
He is.
Oh, I got to go down to that. I'm kind of nervous. He's right beside me right now. I hope somebody gets in between us. It's been a tough year for me, but it's been fun. I've driven a lot of cars and made a lot of friends, I guess. Well, I say friends, but you never know. This Ridemaker's Toyota has been very, very good. Every time I get in, it's just really good race car. And next week I'm back in the 1. That's unbelievable, huh?
That is pretty unbelievable. And we'll watch him try to battle to get 5th in points, guys.
Unbelievable because he lost that ride earlier this year.
And won a race back at Lowe's in May.
Brendan Gaughan has qualified in the 6th position. Meanwhile, Scott Wimmer, a former winner here. Wimmer won back in 2002.
And his crew chief was Booty Barker.
Driving for Bill Davis.
Yep. This is the same car he qualified 2nd and finished 7th at Memphis, and I know they were attempting to pretty much stay pretty close to that same setup because they were pretty happy in Phoenix, Memphis. They have some similarities.
Wimmer will be followed by Jason Keller, Michael Annett, and James Busher. Wendy?
Well, an early morning for Denny Hamlin. Your teammate Kyle Busch ran a 27.13, a heck of a lap for him. Can you get that speed out of your Nationwide car?
I'm not sure. Kyle can get a little bit out of his race car that I can never seem to find, but our GameStop Super Mario Brothers car was pretty good in the first practice. Late, we didn't run that second practice, trying to concentrate on the Cup car, but it's tough to say. I mean, we're probably we didn't do any mock runs or anything, so anything under a 50 I'll be happy with.
All right, good luck to Denny Hamlin. Of course, sat out the second practice of yesterday, and a year ago here in the Nationwide Series, he was on the outside of the front row. I know he's trying to get a heck of a lap today when he gets out there.
All right, thank you, Wendy. Veteran Jason Keller, that 27 car, of course, the all-time leader in career starts in this series, a 10-time winner in this division.
And he was actually pretty good in practice yesterday. He was 4th quickest in the first one and 12th in the second. I talked to Jason yesterday, actually down in the Cup garage, in a little dejected because he knows that he will not be in this car next year. This sponsor is actually moving over to JTG Racing. And Jason said, I have nothing working. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 2010. I said, you know what, Jason? Go out and have yourself 2 good races. You've earned it, and you've got a good race car, and that's all you can do.
Jason's first lap, Larry, good enough for 6th overall. He's just behind David Rudiman. We'll see if he picks up.
So far, it looks like he's going to pick up on this second lap. And again, you talk about this veteran right here. He's been very successful in the Nationwide Series throughout his entire career. And you know, he's just a solid driver. He gives you a good performance each and every week. And this is going to be a pretty darn good pickup here for him. Going to put himself in there 4th quickest right now at a 27:42. Picked up about 2.5 tenths. And, you know, I'm just kind of watching and waiting to see when this break is going to happen, because I think the track's going to start to heat up here in a little bit. And guys like Kevin Harvick, some other guys are going to start slowing down instead of picking up.
Well, as Kyle Busch talks over his race car, we'll head to break. Coming up, Mike Lynette, James Buescher, and David Reagan. Just 2 races remain in this 2009 season to determine the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion. Believe it or not, John Roberts had a haircut the day that picture was made. NASCAR race day, 12:30 Eastern.
It looks like T.P. Barker out there racing around.
T.P. Barker's supposed to be in the truck pit producing. That was the same day I think JR had haircut and hair coloring.
Oh,
all in the same
there
appointment.
There you go again. There you go again.
Kyle Busch still on the pole, Bob Dillner.
That's right, fast as usual for Kyle Busch. And we spoke to your teammate Denny Hamlin. He says, you know, Kyle can get something out of a car that I just can't seem to find in qualifying. Yeah, you worried about anybody?
Denny, he'll get it. He's, you know, we talked a little bit before the qualifying at Richmond, and he beat me there. So, you know, I feel like our NOS Energy Drink Camry's pretty good. You know, Denny's car's pretty decent too. He was struggling a little bit more with the handling than we were, it seemed, in practice from his comments. But, you know, our car should be good. The 60's really fast, so he'll lay down a lap, I'm sure. But, you know, we're just racing the race today to try to lock up the championship and be done with that. So, you know, if we got a shot to win today, we'll try it, but we won't do anything stupid, so we can go on into next week and try to win there.
You know, though, if Kyle Busch has got a shot today, he's going for the win here in Phoenix.
No question, but he talked about his teammate Denny Hamlin. They elected not to even run that second practice. I think a lot do. They wanted him to practice the Cup car and qualify it without being in the Nationwide car. It paid off for Denny. He qualified 5th for tomorrow's 312-lap race.
Larry James Buescher, the 19-year-old, qualifies in the 8th position in his Chevrolet. As David Reagan, a 2-time winner this season, heads out for his laps.
Dave was pretty happy with his race car yesterday and ran some pretty good laps and practices. So being this is Discount Tires home base, be interesting to see if he can get up on the wheel and kind of give him something to cheer about later on this afternoon.
Yeah, Jeff, he was 2nd in the first practice and 7th in that last practice, and this has been a good track for Roush Fenway. They have 6 Nationwide Series wins here with several different drivers.
This lap's going to be pretty decent. I'd say so. 27:44 now. This is kind of like what we saw with Kyle. If he's able to come back and pick up a little bit, he could be challenging for a front row starting position.
He's flirting with it halfway down the back straightaway. And Jeff, you and I were talking at break. If you're going to run in the 2740s, it better be in the low part of the 40s, because we've got a lot of cars in that 2740 range.
Yeah, Steve was looking over that just a second ago. We're really jamming it up about 3rd back to 9th with 40s.
It's going to be a good solid run. He's going to go to 3rd at a 27.257, just 3/1000 slower than Mike Bliss.
Picks up nearly 2 tenths on his second lap.
Becomes a Ford right in amongst 3 Toyotas. Coming off turn 2, you just carry so much speed there. The car just wants to either get loose or push the nose. Obviously the 6 car, a little tail happy there off turn 2.
Lost a little bit of momentum.
So Reagan will be followed by Justin Allgaier, Matt Kenseth, and Mike Wallace.
You know, we talk about the battle for the championship. We've got quite the battle for the Robestos Rookie of the Year. Justin Allgaier leads Brendan Gaughan by 8 points in that points battle. And remember, it's your best 16 finishes. So obviously for either Brendan Gaughan, Justin Allgaier, good top 10 finishes in these last 2 races could make that battle go all the way to the wire.
Allgaier picked up his first Nationwide Series pole 2 races ago in Memphis, Tennessee.
The other battle that Justin's in, you mentioned earlier when Mike Bliss qualified, this guy is just a few points in front of Mike Bliss for that 5th position in the points.
13 points.
First lap 27.718 for Justin. against that rev limiter.
Yeah, got all he could get down that back straightaway into turn 3.
That means, A, you got a good run off turn 2, but another good thing about that, it'll keep you from overdriving turn 3.
Top 3 starts in 3 of his last 4 races. Allgaier picks up 3.5 tenths. He is 4th overall right now, behind Reagan and in front of Michael Annett.
Tell you what, if somebody's going to run fast, they better do it quick because the sun is lurking in the sky.
Wendy.
Kevin Harvick is still smiling from last night. Congratulations on so many levels. On top of that, the championship for Hornaday's wrapped up.
Yeah, thank you. It's pretty neat to be able to go out and win a race and win a championship in the same night. To do it here is pretty cool for both myself and Ron, just for the fact that we've raced a lot here. But those guys have done a great job, and it's a lot of fun to see them develop as a championship team and to see the development of an organization through our trucks and how they've gotten better all year. So a lot of fun, and hopefully we can do the same thing today with our Ream Chevrolet.
Kyle Busch ran a 27:13. You got anything for him?
I have no idea. We didn't do a qualifying run and didn't do any thought. Hadn't given it any thought since then. So we'll go out and see what happens.
All right, good luck to Kevin Harvick. I'm thinking it really doesn't matter on the qualifying. He still smiles from the Truck Series Championship and his win in Victory Lane yesterday.
Well, Wendy, he should be. I mean, that's an outstanding accomplishment by him and Delana Harvick and the whole KHI group. You know, again, congratulations to Ron Hornaday for doing so. But the thing we don't want to lose sight of, guys, is remember, a week ago we were talking about what Kyle Busch was able to accomplish in pulling off the triple. I think Kevin's got an excellent chance of winning this race here this afternoon and possibly putting himself in that position to complete the triple also. So be interested to kind of keep an eye on Kevin Harvick all day long.
Been a great track for him across the board. Kenseth ends up 5th quickest at a 27.358.
That 16 car went to Victory Lane here in April, but with Greg Biffle aboard. Mike Wallace just completed his qualifying efforts. He is the slowest of 16 drivers who have qualified here at Phoenix International.
Yeah, he did not get into the 27-second bracket, the only car that has not run a lap. Every car has picked up, though, from lap 1 to lap 2 of our first 16 cars.
Well, Carl Edwards loves this Phoenix International Raceway. 2 wins, and he is making his 175th NASCAR Nationwide Series start here today.
And even though it looks like all the stars are lining up for Kyle Busch to win this championship, what's going to be interesting is this battle between Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski for second with 2 races to go. Only 20 points separating that 60 car and that 88 car. Pretty awesome first lap, 27.380 for Carl.
That's just a tick slower than what Kyle Busch ran on his first lap. So this is all going to come up to when he can get down the back straightaway. And that pointer now indicates he is on a pole run right there, flirting with the pole.
I believe he rolled out a little early getting into turn 3, and you can see it starting to come back. He's going to reap the reward, I think, for not overdriving turn 3. It's going to be a great lap.
He does it.
27 flat, only 1/10 slower than our track record.
Good work, guys, good work.
But I think the key, Jeff, he didn't overdrive turn 3.
Did not.
Good job.
Did not. And he's, again, he sat on the pole here in April, and it's his second pole. I mean, could be his third pole.
What was the time again? 27 flat. P1 was a 13.
Guys, you know, you look at this unusual 1 mile racetrack. The last 6 Nationwide Series races have been won from the first 2 rows, the top 4. And also the winner typically leads a lot of laps here during this race. And Jeff, that tells me that this racetrack demands performance from the driver and the team.
It does, because again, Larry's talked about it. This is going to be a very short race for the Nationwide Series. It's going to happen, everything's going to happen real quick. So you need to be out front, take advantage of that track position, take advantage of being able to get that first pit. As far as the pick's concerned, all those things are going to come into play, and I think Carl Edwards, again, has done an excellent job. But here could be one of these serious contenders. Now, we've heard from Kyle Busch that Denny Hamlin may have one of those cars that could have challenged him. So if he can challenge Kyle, he can also challenge that 60 car.
Well, I hope Super Mario has his belts pulled tight, because he's going to go for a ride.
He definitely is.
Tell you what, pretty solid first lap for Denny Hamlin, 27.353. And you look at the tracker right there, that's faster than Carl Edwards' first lap by 3/100ths, just a little slower than Kyle Busch. But look at the tracker. Let's see what Denny does getting into turn 3. Not only did he drive it down in there, I mean, he picked the throttle up. Jeff, we're going to be flirting with that track record, it looks like. Yes, 26.872. And boys, we don't get a chance to say it often. That's a new track record.
46.87. Good lap.
I'd say so.
Previous
I think
track
that's
record.
a new track record, bro.
Yes, it is. 26.902, and
Thanks
he
for
ran
that.
a
Good job, man. We appreciate that.
26.872.
I think Mario's got a big smile on his face now on the hood of that car.
Felt great.
Let's go to Bob
Nice
Dillner.
job.
Well, Justin Allgaier a little bit loose in his qualifying run, but we've been sitting down here listening to you guys and watching the monitor, and you're basically in awe of the last two guys that went, aren't you?
Yeah, really. You know, there's some great lap times, and you know, I just wish the Verizon Wireless Dodge we could have got up there and got the run that we wanted to get. But I was reminiscing about the last time we were here down there in 3 and 4. I thought I was going to wreck, and I don't need to be doing that. We got to quit that right now. But these guys do a great job, and you know, we think that the track's going to probably tighten up a little bit for the race when the sun comes out. So hopefully the car will be just right, and we can get right up to the front there and challenge for a win.
And I reminded Justin, remember, no one pays in the race time.
Bob, Jason Leffler is good here at Phoenix. He took a pole back in 2006. He's finished second on 2 occasions.
It's not a bad first lap for Jason Leffler. He sat on the pole here twice in the past, so see what he can do coming down the back straightaway, starting to make that corner creep up a little bit.
You know, Jason was the last pole sitter to sit on the pole here at Phoenix that wasn't a Cup regular. Jason did it last back in 2000.
Picks up almost 4/10 on his second lap, so good effort by Jason Leffler. He is 4th overall in his Toyota at a 27.16. So Carl Edwards, his time atop the pole, short-lived. Let's see what Clint Boyer can do. Let's take a look at our Copart track description, and gentlemen, we might go to fancier facilities, but tell you what, this is a fantastic racetrack.
Awesome.
Quirky.
The jewel in the desert. You know, we go to a lot of 1-mile racetracks, and no racetrack is absolutely the same at both ends. We go to Dover, we go to Loudon, but this one, Jeff, absolutely the 2 ends are totally different.
Totally different. I love this racetrack. It's got character, guys. It's got that dog leg down the back straightaway. It's only got 9 degrees of banking down the back straightaway, but only 3 down the front stretch. So coming through that flat corner, 3 and 4 can really challenge the driver and a crew chief, but this is a racer's racetrack. Crew chief can help, the driver can help, and the combined packages, well, it makes for an exciting race, and then I guess you might say an exciting visit out here to Phoenix.
Eric McClure was 19th. You saw him in his 24 car pulling it off the racetrack, 19th of 20. Next up, Alex Tagliani, spent the last 7 or 8 years racing in kart and IRL, also got a nationwide start at Montreal. Back to Bob.
And I'm with the front row for the race so far here in qualifying. First, we'll go to Carl Edwards, and you thought you were still on the pole when I walked up to you, didn't you?
I did. I should have known better, though.
You got trouble.
Ouch.
81, Tagliani around.
I didn't want to try that hard. You know, I hope he's all right there. But, you know, that was kind of an easy lap for us, and Denny got us. But, man, that was a hard hit.
We'll throw it back to you boys to cover that, and we'll come back with Denny Hamlin.
Carl, it was a hard hit, and he was way off on his first lap at a 29.02. He was attempting to make his first oval start in the Nationwide Series. He will be able to race, but there's a lot of work to be done between now and then getting the backup car ready, because they will not race this car here, that's for sure.
You see the safety workers right there, Steve. Let's take a look at what happened. He came through that flat part of the corner, picked the throttle up, and the back end just came out muttering. And again, up out of the groove, hit that outside safety barrier. I mean, a ton, back to the inside wall. I mean, that race car base is definitely done for the weekend.
I mean, it just hooked on him and hooked in a hurry. There was no saving that. And what I'm seeing is definitely the sun is popping out. It's heating this racetrack up, and it's losing grip as we go.
And Larry, I think what really happened here, I think he got in a little bit too hard, missed that groove right where he needed to be, and what happened is there's no banking down there to help you like it is down in turn 1 and 2.
So Alex Tagliani, 21st driver to attempt to qualify out of the race car. See him going past the barrels into the back of the ambulance. And let's go back to Bob.
And I got Denny Hamlin down here, and he's on the provisional pole, but you lied to Wendy Venturini. You said you didn't think you can beat Kyle Busch, your teammate.
you can't tell everyone how fast a racetrack is. Come on now, it's part of the game. But no, you know, we had no idea, to be honest with you. We didn't make a mock run or anything like that. So proud of this whole GameStop Nintendo Super Mario Brothers team. We just, you know, Doug Hewitt did a good job with the adjustments, obviously, and you know, we probably had some help from the 18 with mock qualifying stuff. So you know, thanks to them.
A new track record for Denny Hamlin. Wendy, he lied to you.
Oh, I know. He was fast, and Clint Boyer said, man, to beat that time, he's going to need some clouds and prayers. Clint, we know there's some fast times put out there so far. Looking at what you were doing in practice yesterday, what do you expect out of your car?
Well, after seeing what just happened, maybe the grip level, confidence level is not quite as it was just about, you know, 2 minutes ago, but the Holiday Inn Chevrolet is pretty good. You know, really happy with it in practice speeds and race trim and things like that. So I don't really know. We didn't make a mock qualifying run, so don't know what we got. Going to field out the first lap and go for it second lap. But 26 is, you know, getting into 26-second bracket is pretty quick.
All right, good luck to Clint Boyer, who's getting ready for that nationwide run, and he said he's leading the charity points by that beverage he's drinking for 2009 so far, gentlemen.
Would say Denny Hamlin's biggest bullets would be Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, and don't count out Reed Sorensen, especially if those clouds move over the racetrack.
So under caution, they'll pick up the mess over there in turn 4. Alex Tagliani is okay. We'll be right back. Coverage of NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying from Phoenix is brought to you by Toyota. For more Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. Want to remind you about Big Block Thursday, beginning at 8 p.m. Pinks All Out, followed by Jacked at 9 Eastern, and Wrecked at 10 here on Speed, all part of Big Block Thursday. We've got some big black clouds rolling in and may have some rain in the area.
I'm disappointed you didn't let me do that. I love Big Block Thursday.
But well, you know what? As long as those clouds do not give rain, those clouds are a beautiful thing for these guys that still yet to qualify.
Under caution for Alex Tagliani's wreck. Heavy impact with the turn 4 wall. He has been taken to the care center, got out under his own power.
Look how hard this car hits that wall. I mean, that's severe damage to that 81 car.
And you know, you have to qualify these cars so free, you know, because under the impound procedure, knowing that your car is probably going to really get tight in a race. So you're on the free side or loose side as you qualify them anyhow.
Also want to remind you that Denny Hamlin has set a new track record.
You know what?
26.872, which is 133.968 miles per hour.
There's the backup car for Alex Tagliani coming out of the truck. I do want to clean up a little something I said a while ago. I had the right name, but Jason Leffler is really the only non-Cup regular to sit on the pole here for the most part in all of the 15 races we've had here, but he's done it twice. He did it in 2006, and he did it in 2000, as I mentioned.
So backup indeed for Alex Tagliani.
A lot of work to do in a short time to do it, though.
Well, if they're prepared, NASCAR will work with them, and they'll get that 81 ready to go this afternoon.
Well, Reed Sorensen was good in practice yesterday. He started and finished second at Gateway in this car earlier this season.
I would say this car and Kevin Harvick, who comes up next, will be two potential bullets at Denny Hamlin, unless the factor of, like Clint Boyer said in his interview, has the track lost grip? Is that one of the reasons the 81 car crashed?
In 4 starts here, Sorensen has 3 finishes of 8th or better, including a second place run in 2006.
Not going to be a great first lap for Reed, it doesn't look like. Probably somewhere maybe in the 50s or 60s. 27.67 for Reed Sorensen on lap 1. He drives for Braun Racing, and Braun Racing just announced that they will go with 4 full-time Nationwide Series teams in 2010. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series driver Brian Scott will run the full schedule in a 4th car next year. The number of the cars still to be determined.
And Larry, I really believe Reed just kind of tippy-toed a little bit through that first lap. With his second lap, can be a pretty good pickup all the way up to 7th quickest at a 27.27. Picked up about almost 4/10 of a second.
Well, we are saturated with Toyotas up there in the top 10. In fact, when you look at the top 7, we've got 5 Toyotas. We have the 1 Dodge. The fastest Chevrolet right now, with some good Chevrolet still to come, is Stephen Wallace, who's 11th.
In fact, one of those Chevrolets out next is Kevin Harvick. And as Jeff said, Harvick coming off a Camping World Truck Series win here last night. Also, his driver, Ron Hornaday, clinching his 4th Camping World Truck Series championship. Harvick loves this racetrack. 4 wins in the Truck Series, 2 in Cup, 1 in the Nationwide Series. And there is his win last night as he and Ron Hornaday celebrate.
And what tells you how good those 2 trucks were is it was a very short race, 150 laps. Kevin Harvick actually brought out the first caution by spinning out. Ron Hornaday had to go to the back of the field about mid-part of the race for non-compliant fuel penalties. So both those trucks had to work their way from the back to get top 5 finishes.
And Larry, right quick, it was a great night for them, but this could be a pretty good first lap for Kevin Harvick at a 27.34. I mean, he was right there quicker than Denny Hamlin. Is what he can do right now on that second lap coming off of turn 2. That pointer's moving in the right direction.
Looks like he eases it down into turn 3. See if he can pick the throttle up. Car washed up just a little bit right in the middle of 3 and 4, and I think that was just going to be enough to keep him from getting up there on the front row.
Picks up to 3rd overall. He picked up 2/10. 27.12 for Kevin Harvick. Wendy?
Good lap.
Well, I did some researching for Larry Mack. He wanted to know if anyone had an engine change here on the Nationwide side, and I found out the 87 did have an engine change, but they also had a driver change. Joe Nemechek in the 87. Have you even run a lap out there?
No, I made laps in the Cup car. Antonio Perez, we were letting him run the car yesterday, and we had an engine problem right off the bat, and have no idea what happened, but ended up having a valve train issue, and so put another motor in. He got quite a few laps. He did a good job, but just couldn't get everything worked out. So I get to go out and see if I can make a good qualifying lap here.
All right, good luck to Joe Nemechek. He called it a setup surprise. We'll see what he can get.
Wendy, want to mention Alex Tagliani has been released from the Infield Care Center. We'll be back with more Nationwide qualifying after this. Curtain will fall on the 2009 NASCAR Camping World Truck Series season next Friday night in Homestead, Florida at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Coverage beginning Friday night at 7:30.
Jeff Hammond, there is still a championship battle going on in that NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
Yes, there is. I mean, I got a chance to talk to the folks over at KHI this morning, and they want to win the total package. And I think a lot of people don't realize this, but Billy Ballou is ahead of them as far as owner points are concerned.
The 51 truck that Kyle Busch drives part-time.
So even though the driver's point championship is settled, the owner's championship is going to go down to the final race at Homestead, and we'll find out who's going to be able to pull it off.
Want to update you in terms of qualifying. Chris Cook went out during commercial. He is the slowest of 25 drivers, and you see Ken Butler the third, 22nd overall. Bob?
Well, Steve, Kevin Harvick, the big winner last night here at Phoenix, but had a really good first lap, and then it looked like you might get it on that second lap. Where did you miss a little bit, Kevin?
I just didn't get the throttle soon enough up off of 4, but got to thank everybody on our Ream Chevrolet. Got Ream solar water heaters on my car this week, so that's kind of cool, but usually when we qualify good, that's a good sign of things to come, so I'm looking forward to this afternoon.
Kevin Harvick going for 2 in a row here this afternoon in Phoenix.
Well, Bob, as we just said, Ron Hornaday clinched his 4th Camping World Truck Series championship last night with this driver, Jason Bowles, 27 years old, out of Ontario, California, also a 2009 champion in the Camping World West Series.
Yeah, and he's passing up the big championship party to be out here to race in Phoenix this weekend. I think that a lot of the folks at NASCAR said, hey, this is what the series, you know, as far as the Winston West Series is concerned, is to be able to promote and get people up into the Nationwide Series. So a great effort right now by Jason Bowles and his guys in the 61 car have an opportunity to race here today.
First lap 28-28 for Jason. See what he can do on lap 2.
Jason won the West Series race here, and April of this season.
Picks it up to a 27.80. That puts him 19th right now out of our 26 cars.
Jason will be followed by Kenny Wallace, Tony Raines, Clint Boyer, and Joe Nemechek.
I'm going to tell you what, the weather right now is becoming the equalizer in this qualifying session.
It really is.
We talked at the top of the show, we felt like if you had a late draw that you were probably going to be in trouble. But right now those clouds are hanging in here and shading the racetrack. So even for our go or go home guys, which again, their main dot on their radar is just make this show.
Heavy clouds down in turns 1 and 2.
I don't know if we mentioned we have 47 cars here. There will be 4 cars that will not make the show.
We did, but I appreciate the reminder.
There you go.
Kenny Wallace, 12 starts here at Phoenix. Best finish of 5th, best start of 3rd.
He was about mid-pack in practice yesterday. In final practice, he was 20th quickest with his 28 car, sitting 13th in the points with 2 races to go.
He comes, that's exactly right. He comes in here 13th in points and trying to hold station here at Phoenix.
This is going to be a decent first lap for him, 28.08. Not probably what he was totally looking for, but he's flirting with the top 15 right now.
Larry, you mentioned yesterday Kenny had a good run at Memphis, and this is a handling track much like Memphis.
Well, it is. You know, Kenny will be the first to tell you, you know, horsepower-wise, they struggle a little bit with this 28 car, so I think Kenny looks forward to the short tracks. And let's face it, if you look at Kenny Wallace's Nationwide Series career, he normally shines at the Loudons, the Richmonds, the Phoenix type, the flat racetracks that requires a lot of handling.
And he should be pretty happy with that second lap. Picks up a little over a half a second, moves himself up to 17th. Good qualifying effort.
So Denny Hamlin with a 26.87 is the guy to beat. Let's take a look at the rest of today's menu. We'll have Sprint Cup Series practice following qualifying. You'll see the Able Body Labor 200 on ESPN2, NASCAR Performance at 7 o'clock, and NASCAR Smarts at 7:30. We'll be right back. Tony Raines picked up nearly half a second on his second lap. Good effort for Raines, who comes in here 12th in series points. Raines 18th overall of 28 drivers who have qualified.
Say this will be a car Mr. Hamlin will be standing on top of the hauler clocking. Clint Boyer in his 29 car.
I like the way Clint was talking about the confidence level when he saw the 81 car kind of diminished a little bit. I think right now he's got to believe this racetrack's got the grip in it. Just let the race car kind of dictate what you're doing and see how it kind of pays off. First lap, a 27.70. Not that fast on that first lap, Larry, but making a little rally back on the second.
Yeah, he didn't get off turn 2 that great, and that hurt him all the way down the back straightaway. I don't think she's going to be a pole run, but he's flirting with the top 5 start with this 29 car. And that's what it'll be. 5th at a 27.14, right behind Kyle Busch, right in front of Jason Leffler.
Steve, the one thing I can tell, at least looking at the qualifying, is it's kind of stacking up right now. We want to have a dogfight out of that top 10. We got a lot of good guys and a lot of fast race cars that were in that top 10.
Yeah, Hamlin, Edwards, Harvick, Kyle Busch, Clint Boyer, Jason Leffler. There's some real wheel men up in the front.
You got some guys up in there that really, really would love to get a win here in 2009. Guys that are actually in the top 5 in points, like Jason Leffler and like Justin Allgaier.
This is where the decisions are going to come in is how hard do you race? I mean, because there's some guys like we talk about trying to stay in that top 5. We know the top 5 get a chance to walk across at the championship banquet and be announced. You know, do you race smart or do you race aggressive? That's going to be the key for this afternoon.
Go or go home qualifying begins now with Joe Nemechek in the 87 car.
He's actually locked into the show. Yeah, it'll start next. He's the last guy of our top 30 in owner points, and as we know, he's pretty much qualified just to get some laps on this engine and for pit selection only. We interviewed him a while ago. He will have to go to the rear of the field because of the engine change. First lap for Joe, 28.06.
Look what he's doing on his second lap. Doesn't take Joe very long to figure this place out, and the car must be working well because he's got a top 15 run going.
So Kevin Hamlin, the first driver in the go or go home category. He's up next. Joe Nemechek picks up 6/10 on his second lap. He is 18th overall in his Chevrolet. Joe has 6 starts here in the Nationwide Series with a best finish of 4th. So it's Kevin Hamlin, Johnny Chapman, and Casey Atwood.
You know, this race, even though we've been coming here twice a year since 2005 with the Nationwide Series cars, just like the Cup cars, it's kind of an unpredictable race. Yeah, the Cup guys seem to dominate it, but we've had 15 previous races here with 11 different winners to speak for.
Kevin Hamlin's hoping to make his 12th Nationwide Series start of 2009. He's 30 years old from Snohomish, Washington.
One of the touring champions from the past, up in the what they called at one point the Northwest Tour.
Yep, Northwest Series. Started 10th at Gateway this year. Hamlin's first lap, 28.16. 27th overall.
And I think with 4 drivers not making the show, you know, we're going to have to watch 1 or 2, several, you know, 2 or 3 maybe qualify before we get a feel for what is a good enough lap to feel safe.
Yeah, this 37 car is a teammate of Jason Keller's.
Tell you what, the lap he's about to lay down, I think he's going to feel okay about it because he runs a 27.44. By no means not locked in because he's the first go or go homer, but I think I'd feel pretty good about that lap.
I'm going to be better than that. He's going to be in the race. I think that right there is definitely a safe number. I think that anything in the 40s, you should feel very confident, get your picks, crew ready, and get tuned up and get ready to race.
And that's in the low 40s.
That's the low 40s.
Bob Dillner.
5th quick so far is Clint Boyer. And Clint, what I want to know is, you know, to get further up there on the speed charts, you know, was it you? Was it the car? Was it psychologically, like you told Wendy, you know, thinking about the 81 wreck?
Hands down, the car. It's never the driver. No, Holiday Inn Chevrolet's fine. I just didn't get it all coming off before, you know, and I was probably a little bit lazy getting the gas down at 2. But the car's a really good race, Jim. You know, I was doing the things I needed to do, and I'm excited about the race. I'm looking forward to being back in the Nationwide Series. I haven't been in a few weeks, and you know, looking forward to this is my last race, you know, being here at Phoenix. I love this racetrack, and we can race from there. We can see the front. We can definitely race from there.
And remember, he's won here before, guys.
Likes this racetrack.
Besides that, Larry, I like the way his race car looked yesterday in practice. I thought that car on long runs was pretty consistent, and definitely he'd be one of the guys you got to watch today.
Johnny Chapman, 28th overall in his first lap at a 28.20. Started 12th last weekend at Texas, his best start of 2009.
He definitely laid a lap down in that qualifying session last week there at Fort Worth. He's flirting with right there being about in the area that Kevin Hamlin qualified. He's going to be a little slower than Kevin. Let's see what he does. He's 20th quickest at a 27. Another car in the 40s, 48.
But he's on the, I think, on the
high side
of those 40s. But I still think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think 40s, like you said, Jeff, you'll be okay. Like that shirt.
Is that Brooks and Dunn? Did he borrow that from you, Jeff?
Guys, I wouldn't be caught dead in that shirt. I hate to say it. As much as the Cowboys I am, but I'm telling you. But he is talking to the right guy, the fireman.
When you dream, do you dream in speed? Introducing the Speed Dream Ride. You'll see new shows, old favorites, and have the chance to win an experience you never dreamed possible. The Speed Dream Ride is coming soon, presented by Castrol Edge. Find out more at speeddreamride.com. Casey Atwood in the 85 car, his Chevrolet. He's qualified 27th overall.
Steve, I thought you were going to tell us what you dream in speed.
Oh, I said if I do dream in speed, it usually involves Vita Guerra.
Living the low life.
Si, senor. Wendy.
I cannot help you in this conversation, Steve Burns. Nonetheless, with Alex Tagliani, not the circumstance I want to be talking to you, but after that qualifying run, are you feeling okay as the crew works behind you on that backup car?
Well, physically, yeah, but you know, it's pretty tough to see the guys having to be in this particular situation. The worst one in racing, basically, prior to a race like this. So it's unfortunate, you know, like we had a decent car, and somehow I got caught. You know, the inside rear tires start hopping. The front of the car banged on the ground a little bit in turn 4, and I thought that was clear, and I lost the back of the car. So it's really the thing that you don't want to be in prior to a race, like I said. But we'll try to make the best out of it, and in the time we have.
How close is that backup car to being ready?
It's pretty far. It's a 1.5 mile car, so it has small brakes. It's not really set up for a short oval, so there's a lot of work to do. But you know, for the benefit of the team, we're going to try to do the best and make sure we're on the grid at the start.
All right, thanks to Alex Tagliani, and of course, the good news is that he walked away and is feeling okay.
Guys, it looks to me like not only are they changing the springs and the shocks and everything else they can on that car, they're also changing the decals.
But you see all of the NASCAR officials there working with this group as quick as they can because it's not that far off for the green flag for this race.
Jeremy Clements on track now, 28.18 on his first lap. Picks up about 2.5 tenths on his second.
The good news is that will lock Kevin Hamlin into the show. We have no championship provisionals to deal with, so absolutely we can tell you as we go what drivers will be locked in, what drivers will be locked out.
Chris Lawson in the 52 Chevrolet is 29th overall.
That's owner Randy McDonald there surveying the damage of his 81 car. Randy drove a few races back in the day in the Nationwide Series.
I think he's looking there saying, what can I save?
Knockout qualifying continues. Michael McDowell is in the 96. I'll tell you what, for a time yesterday, he was looking good. He had some pretty good speed in that 96.
And you know, we've promoted hard about what Mike Bliss has done driving several different cars. You know, Michael McDowell has driven for about 5 different teams, 5 different cars here in 2009. Of course, he was in the 47 car for about half the season, and then he's been in several cars, but he's fighting and clawing, trying to get back in the top 10. He was in the top 10 in points until 2 races ago. Right now, he's 34 points sitting outside back in 11th. First lap, not a great lap for Michael, 28.42. Now the green line there, what that represents right now is Johnny Chapman. You want to be to the left of that green line. If you can get to the left of it, that means you will be locked in.
We'll come really close here on that second lap, Larry. Good lap for him. Moves him all the way up to the 23rd to the 27.59. Big pickup right there, almost 9/10 of a second.
Yeah, good pickup for Michael McDowell, and it locks Johnny Chapman into the field. Nobody has been bumped out as of yet. We'll take a break, find out if Denny Hamlin's going to stay on the pole and who will make the show, and unfortunately, who will go home. Stay with us here on Speed. Speed's presentation of NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying for Phoenix is brought to you by Copart.com, an online auto auction where you control the price you want to pay. Go to Copart.com today. John West Townley in the 09 car, his first lap, 28.39. Meanwhile, John Borneman III has qualified in the 24th position. That locks Michael McDowell into the show.
John West Townley working with a new crew chief this week. Brad Parrott and this group, they parted ways. Ben Gable, with some assistant from Chris Rice, is looking after this car for the last 2 races, and he will lock himself in with that second lap at a 27.65.
Beats John Borneman III by 2/1000 of a second to lock himself in. Puts Borneman still on the bubble as far as making it in.
Great pickup too, 7.5 tenths.
It was announced just recently that John West Townley and his sponsor Zaxby's will be moving to Richard Childress Racing in 2010. R&B Racing, who owns this car, still looking for what they might be doing next year.
91 car being wheeled by Terry Cook. Started 13th at Texas last week.
He was actually decent in one of the practice sessions. He was 19th. He did not practice, but one of the 2.
But the thing is right now with Terry Cook, he had an opportunity to do some practicing in the Camping World Truck Series, so he felt like he could skip that first practice. But Larry, based off of what we're seeing here right now, I think you got to be 70 or better to make the field today.
Now, Terry qualified 13th here in the spring and also qualified 13th at Texas last week.
So Kevin Hamlin, Johnny Chapman, Michael McDowell, John West Townley all locked in.
Hold on to your hat, boys. All of a sudden, Terry Cook on that first lap at a 27.88, but he has come to life on this second lap.
You know, I've been told that everyone feels strongly that if they could get some sponsorship on this car, that they could really make some noise with Terry Cook. And he's made some pretty big noise here because he by far is the fastest of the go homers, 12th quickest with this 91 car. So he will race for sure.
7:36 on his second lap, picks up over a half a second.
So that leaves Johnny Borneman III sitting there on the bubble, not locked in just yet. Good lap.
27-year-old Daryl Haar in the 31 car has just one nationwide series start at Phoenix. Did that back in April.
I think Larry pointed out he tried to make the field at Watkins Glen. Wasn't able to accomplish that, car being co-owned by Stanton Barrett.
He'll be followed by Mark Green, Danny O'Quinn Jr., and Dennis Setzer.
Yeah, Daryl is from Alberta, Canada. He's run a lot of the series up there in Canada.
Yeah, he is actually from St. Albert, Alberta, Canada.
First lap, 28.67. Got a lot of work to do from that first lap.
Yeah, but if he could do anything like what Terry Cook did, he could easily climb his way back up into this field.
He was 40th in one practice and 32nd in the other. He was 12th quickest of the go or go home cars in practice.
He's not picking up enough. This is not going to be enough to get him into this field right this second.
Now this looks like this may be the slowest of the go or go homers, and it will be. He does not even get into the 27-second bracket, 28.18. I would be a little nervous about that lap right there.
But the good thing is Johnny Borneman III will race this afternoon.
Borneman locked in. Mark Green scheduled to be the next driver up. Green driving the 49 car.
I'm gonna tell you what, this is a car that very well could lay a pretty good lap down, because when I look at the practice yesterday, he was 7th quickest in one of those practices. But it's such a fine line for these go or go homers, because if you overdrive that car just ever so slightly, this place, if you overdrive it here, it's over with. And so it's a fine line, just trying to make sure you get a good, conservative, but fast enough lap in.
Yeah, but Mark Green's a veteran right there, Larry. He'll get that, I think, that solid lap in, and then probably a lot like Terry Cook, he'll kind of pick it up on the second.
His best start of 2009, he qualified 7th at Richmond back in September. First lap, 27.88. In fact, he's locked in already on lap number 1.
CR Pointer really made a big jump after he got across the start-finish line. Mark definitely running quicker on the second lap down the back straightaway. This is how will he wind up.
After Mark Green, Danny O'Quinn Jr., Dennis Setzer, the veteran, Josh Wise.
Be a good solid lap for Mark. He's going to jump up to 21st, so he's locked in. Another car in the 40s, 27.485.
He picks up 4/10. We'll step aside for a minute and come back to Phoenix International to conclude NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying. Denny Hamlin still the man to beat.